Transformational relationships and building relationships that last a lifetime, my favorite topic. But before we do that, I always like to add a little extra value. So I'm going to give you two little short, quick pieces. Number one, we are offering a $10,000 commission on any introduction that leads to a new franchise in between now and the end of the year. We normally offer $5,000, but if you know of anyone that might want to build a big community and have transformational relationships, we would love an introduction, and we will reward you at $10,000 if they decide to move forward. So any questions about that? Okay, one other little added feature here that I want to share with you. Raise your hand if you know you need to be putting out more content, but you're a little challenged with time. All right, man. So I keep hearing we need to be spending 30, all of us business owners, they were supposed to spend 30% of our time on content. I'm like, I'll spend 3. Well, I want to share with you a tool that was shared with me by Brad Sugars, the founder of Action Coach, that I have fallen in love with. And it's super easy and it's super cheap and it's super productive. Let me just show it to you. If you want to write this down, Dan, put this in the chat for me, Dan. It is called Pressmaster AI. Pressmaster AI. And I want to show you how easy this is. So this will do press releases. It will write articles. So if you want to write an article, you just click on new article. Watch how cool this is. And you come over here and put write about transformational relationships, how to achieve them, and what makes them different. Now, you might say, why don't I just use chat? Well, this is so much better because it's going to be your voice. So watch this. I just come over and hit this button. And this is going to tell me, and I can answer the question. So if I want this thought leadership, or maybe I want a company news or a press release, I'll leave this one on thought leadership. If I want the focus to be best practices, or I can analyze trends, a how-to tutorial. So let's make this one a how-to tutorial. And I can pick the link to the article. So we'll make this a short one, 360 words. And you can hit the tone, whether you want it written in second person, investigative. I'll come down here and I'm going to do thought-provoking, narrative style. It comes from my brand voice. So it asks me a bunch of questions. Now watch this. Everybody see my screen, right? Watch how cool this is. If I just wanted to write me a little 300 to 600 or 900 word article, I just hit quick. If I wanted to type in questions and ask me questions, I click on adaptive. If I click on conversationalist, the bot actually asks me questions until it has enough information to write me an article. So any of the 3, for this practice, I'm going to go ahead and do quick. And then just hit go. And the cool part is you can hook this up to your LinkedIn. If you have a blog or you have a place to do that, you can hook it up to that. So I just hit go. Now it's going out on the open internet and researching all the different topics and all the different articles and all the different information. It's getting information about me and what I've said before. And it's going to write me an article. And if I decide to publish it, I just hit publish and it goes right on my LinkedIn account, which I've already set up and hooked up. So now I have no excuse for not at least doing 3 articles a week. It is so far advanced over ChatGPT, where normally when I do this on chat, you know, all the articles sound alike. You know, you got to really wordsmith them and really edit them. But this takes my tone, my quotes, my ideas, and helps me craft an article. Pressmaster AI, not just for press releases, but any article you want. And you can write 10 articles ahead of time and leave them right over here in your, they have SEO search they build into the articles. So it's a very, I think it's only like 17 or 18 bucks a month for, well, they do have a free version as well. That limits the number of words and articles you can write. But in just a matter of 2 or 3 minutes, this thing will cut out an article. So if you want to write about everything that can go wrong if you pick the wrong catering company, and all the reasons you should choose a good catering company, how you don't want to have food poisoning for your employees or guests, you can pick any topic you want and put it out there. Any questions about Pressmaster AI? I'll come back in a little bit and I'll show you the article. Any questions about that? Just want to share that with you because I like sharing things that make your life easier, like that one made mine. So check it out if you're of the mind. So I'm going to read something to you. According to research, the number of people today who say they have no one to talk to about difficult subjects has tripled in the last 10 years. Tripled. Think about that. So that makes relationships more important than ever. And I would say that I have not heard one AI expert in the world say that AI is going to replace personal relationships. It's going to do a lot of things. There's all kinds of statistics about all of us that are going to get replaced and all the different things that are going to happen to our industries, but it's not going to replace real life relationships. So what I want to talk about today a little bit is the purpose is to provide actionable strategies to help us cultivate lasting relationships and create community. And whether it's professional networking or family, God knows, raise your hand if sometimes family is the hardest to have personal relationships with. I've only got 8 brothers and 7 brothers and sisters, and there's 10 of us, and some of them it's really challenging. So the principles are the same. And those principles fall into about 3 categories, in my opinion. One of them is, in my opinion, the most important, and that's authenticity, being authentic. So we've all been in groups where you've got one stray bird in the group who's not very authentic, and they drive everybody in the group crazy, and they throw the group off kilter. And one of the things I love about our professional leaders at Network in Action is they're really good at picking members, and they don't allow that to happen very long. But when you're willing to be authentic, it's obviously the bedrock of any lasting relationship. So I'm going to give you a little tip here. How does showing up at a networking meeting relate to being authentic and starting to build trust? You probably never thought about it. But if you go back to high school, if some of us have a hard time remembering that long ago, but if you go back to high school and you remember that 1 or 2 times in that 3 or 4 year period where you got stood up on a Saturday night, Star, I know that never happened to you. Never. But it happens to most of us. Is there a worse feeling in the world when you're 15, 16, 17 years old and you're all polished and dressed up and shiny and you're looking forward to it, and your whole self-esteem relies around that gal or guy picking you up that night on time and doing what they say they're going to do, and they don't show up? It's the worst feeling I ever remember having. Yes, it happened to me, Catherine, a couple times. So it's the worst feeling in the world. And I relate that to Network in Action members who don't show up for a meeting and don't get a sub. So think about that. If I go to a Network in Action meeting for 4 straight months, and then all of a sudden I've got a miss and I don't get a sub, the group's just getting to know me. I'm just getting to build that trust. And what happens? I take a major step back. So being authentic, being real, being accountable is all part of building great relationships. All right, I want you to think about something. Everybody take 1 second and write in the one person in your life who you can be completely vulnerable with, open with, and show up with. One person, whoever it is. Just write somebody in that chat. Scott's got his mom, husband, better be, right, Catherine? Husband, family, wife, Gabriella's. Very good. Joseph, who is Sam V? Is that a friend?
Very dear friend.
Very dear friend. That's awesome, because most everybody's got family here. I'm always telling my kids, they're worried about how many friends they have. I said, don't worry, when you're my age, you typically only have about 5 or 6 that are really close that you could just call on for anything, right? Awesome. Okay, so we all have somebody we can be vulnerable with and we can be close to. And if you think about it, it's because we can be vulnerable with them and they can be vulnerable with us. They can see us in any way, shape, or form that allows us to feel that close to them. So what we try to do in Network in Action at our meetings is create some of that without making you feel like you have to walk on fire, with no clothes on. We're not going that far. So the vulnerability piece is an important part in showing up, being authentic. Show your flaws. Don't try to be someone you're not. All of these things endear you to people in the group, which ultimately leads to what? See, what we've learned over the last 11 years, I can tell you the first 5 or 6 years, we spent so much time focusing on referrals and the number of referrals sent and the number of referrals closed. And over the last few years, we've realized that if we focus on the relationship, the referrals will come. And so I think we're doing a much better job of that. Okay, Dan, are you still here?
I can be.
I'm going to do this. Here's what I'd like to do. I would like to create 6 breakout rooms. Number 1, pick a spokesperson. Pick a spokesperson. We're going to put 4 people in each room, Dan. So about 5 rooms there. And I want you to think about, have everyone take 2 minutes and be really vulnerable about the biggest challenge in your life today. So everybody gets a chance to talk about the one thing keeping them awake, the one thing really being problematic in their life, whether it's personal or business, whatever you're willing to share. Everybody take 2 minutes. And then I want you to pick one person to see what solutions you can come up with to help them, and be ready to tell everybody when you come back. So we're going to have about 8 minutes of each person taking 2 minutes, and then about another 6 or 8 minutes of figuring out what you're going to do. So let's make it 8 and 8. So 16 minutes, Dan. If you'll give me 5 groups of 4, that would be great. I went to Catholic school. That's 20, right, Catherine? 5 times 4 is 20. Okay, great. All right, let's do that, Dan, right now. We'll see in a few minutes. So everybody talks for 2 minutes about the biggest challenge. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable. And then pick one spokesperson to figure out and come back and talk about what solutions you came up with, how to help them. Go.
Make sure you accept your room invites.
Start with Helen's group. Who's the spokesperson, Helen, in your group? Did y'all pick one?
Yes, we did, Laura.
Awesome. Where is she? Laura? Hello, Laura. Laura, tell us your company name and where you are.
So I am Powered by H Electricians, and we are based out of Oak Forest, which is 690 and 290 area. Sorry, I get my numbers
Awesome.
on. But we really go pretty much anywhere. So certainly down through League City, up through the north side, out to Memorial area, all that stuff.
So for all of you who don't know, that's all over Houston. Okay, Laura, tell us what topic you picked and what solutions y'all provided and how that went.
So we really ended up with 2 groups. So I was there speaking about my problems, and then Marisol and Greg had very similar problems, being that they're in the same industry. And then of course, Helen was almost like our moderator and super helpful. So my problem was around networking and making sure that my guys have work every day. So I'm the owner. I'm the one responsible for making sure we've got work. My electricians do have a lot of people they've worked for years that kind of help fill that gap, obviously. But kind of where we got to with my problem was, as I am getting into networking and doing it a lot more, because that's my focus for the second half of the year, is figuring out which networking groups are really the most useful for my business. So where am I making the most connections? Where am I making the best connections? Where am I finding people that are as invested as I am in growing their own businesses and them helping me grow mine, and really that. Then for Marisol and Greg, theirs was finding the right clients with the right monetary background to be able to afford them, and how do they get really the right referrals for people that can afford them, and they're not getting referrals that people just can't afford it. And so they're spending time working on proposals or talking to people that just are going to not be a good client fit. So how to get those better referrals.
Awesome. Let me offer just a little tip you may or may not know. If you go to the profile page, each one of you have, a lot of us put our name, address, email, phone number in there, but there's a couple of places you can really give the rest of the members in the group a real advantage. One of them is you can write an email and put it in there how you want to be introduced. And that's a really great way. So I just copy and paste an email straight from your words, and I send that to people on your behalf. That's a really 5 or 6 minute exercise. It's well worth the time. And the other one, there's a place on the profile where you can add 3 questions that I ask on your behalf. So for instance, When was the last time you had your breaker box checked? 20 years. Wow. Do you have a good electrician you know? No. Wow. Would you mind if I introduce you to Laura? So write in those 3 questions on your profile that any member can ask on your behalf to be listening how to help you. Awesome. Okay, Josh, how about your group?
Yeah, Catherine was our spokesperson. So
All right,
Catherine, I'll let you go.
Catherine.
Yeah. So I think Wendy, who's on here, she is with Goosehead Insurance. She was the person that we spent the most time kind of coming up with a solution for her challenge. And her challenge was setting boundaries and like being able to kind of turn off work and then focus on her family after work. And we came up with a couple different solutions for her. When she originally started, she had given people her personal phone number. So that means she gets a lot of calls on her cell phone or text after hours to that. She now has a Zoom number. And so one of the options we had suggested to her was letting her clients know that she has a new number and sending them to that Zoom number and like forwarding all that info, like having that as her main point of contact for them. And then Josh had suggested he actually did what was really, I thought, a great idea. He has, 4,000 contacts, right, from a variety of different things he's done along his career. And he made that personal number his business number and his contact number, and then got a second line that is only for his friend, like very closest friends and family to have. And at the weekends, he only has that device with him and leaves the other one
Love
behind.
that.
So
Well, anybody
Good
office
thinking.
from home? Give me a thumbs up if you office from home. I don't know about you guys. This is new to me. I'm officing from home right now temporarily since we gave up our lease, and it's so easy, especially if you love what you're doing. All of a sudden, it's 5:30, 5:45, 6 o'clock, and they've all eaten dinner, and I'm like still in here having fun. So you got to pick a time to cut off. Let me give you a book. Who Not How. Anybody read that book? Oh my God, it's the best book. It's a guy who actually had someone pin the book for him because that wasn't the best use of his time. So it's a great book about business owners needing to learn how to delegate. And so it's not what you know, it's who you know that can do it. Fantastic book. I'm looking at it
Can you
right
put
now on
it in the
Amazon.
chat?
Yeah, you can get it for $13 used on Amazon. Poor authors, I should quit saying used. So yeah, let me put it in there. Who, not how. Hold on, Helen, you're going to show me how bad a typer I am. Who, not how. Those are pretty easy words. And the author is Dan Sullivan.
Okay, cool.
Great book. Okay, awesome. How about Bill's group? Bill, who is your spokesperson?
Yeah, we didn't pick one, so I guess I'll be the spokesperson.
That's you.
Yeah, so we had a couple different things in our group. One that was unique, I think, was we had somebody looking for a kitchen. So she has a catering business and she's looking for a kitchen with more flexible hours. And so we were looking at ideas of anybody that might know somebody that's in the restaurant business, that they have a restaurant that might be only breakfast and lunch, where the kitchen might be open in the afternoon. And then she's just looking for anybody that might know of a space. So right now, the hours that her current kitchen available doesn't work with what she needs to provide. So she's looking for a new space. So that's what we did. And so we came up with a couple of those ideas, and then we kind of ran out of time.
Yep, that happens with it. So yeah, there's ghost kitchens now all over most big cities that you can find and rent just a little space of so many restaurants now just doing Uber Eats. That works good. Okay, how about is it Joseph Group? Sean, where's Joseph? Who's spokesperson in that group?
Well, no, I'm still here.
All right, awesome.
I'm still here. Pronunciation is Shaver on that, Scott.
Thank
Just like
you.
it looks.
One more
No
time.
problem. Shaver.
I
Yep.
couldn't read my own handwriting. Literally.
We didn't really pick a spokesperson. I guess I can speak if that's what we want to talk about. We talked about a couple things. I have marketing struggles, and Cindy or Joyce was great enough to extend an introduction to somebody who's local to me up here in the frozen Northeast. And then we talked a lot about Ben and the struggles that he has being in the middle of nowhere. I mean, relatively speaking, 10,000 people in Minnesota, but still middle of nowhere, and trying to figure out ways to network with him. Came up with just some virtual events and trying to facilitate ideas for him to connect with people locally, but also potentially bring interest into where he's at.
Good.
And then he also had some technology concerns as well that we again connected him with a few people in the group that we already know.
Yeah, good. All right, Mr. Keith Young, who is the spokesperson in your group, Keith?
Not me.
Anybody else in that group? Not everybody, but somebody. Who is with you, Keith? Pick on somebody. I'll let you assign it to somebody.
I'll say Kath is our spokesperson. I'm not feeling so well, so that's why I'm off video and
sorry.
not really talking a bunch.
I'm sorry. I hope you feel better. Cass, are
Sure.
you willing and able?
Sure. Moose and Star and Keith were in our group, and I don't see Star, and Moose had to take an appointment. But a couple of things that were brought up. Well, Moose recounted that he'd gone through the surgeries in the last 2 to 3 years and a couple of rounds in the hospitals. And so his theme this year was just push forward, make the most important thing the most important thing. And that's people, not getting caught up in the drama of stuff, but just the important aspect of people. Keith is a business broker, is dealing with the fact that brokering a business sale takes a long time. So he and I myself are considering offering things a different way because of how we work with people. So he's going to be structuring his offerings to his clients to do some monthly billings and things like that. And Star has got just changes to her client base. A lot of her clients have gone through some shifts in the last month or two. So she's having to figure out, one, how to help them, but also how to find another set of another market for her business. So
Yeah, I love that idea, Keith. We had 2 or 3 people. I'm reminded of Rob, who's a video guy, and he used to just every month scratching claw to make sure he had more videos to shoot next month. And about 3 years ago, I said, you got to create a subscription model where a person buys a video or 2 every month, and you're in there every 2 weeks and sell those for 6 or 9 or 12-month increments. And he's done that. I had lunch with him this week, and he's like, oh my God. He goes, if I can get 4 more people, and he quoted what financial part he would be at, and it was like dramatically different. But that's a great idea, Keith. Okay, so this is crazy. This is totally crazy. I just went over there to Pressmaster AI and plugged that topic in just for fun. But watch how serendipitous this is. This is crazy. This is that article, and I quoted here. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you. But after tracking 724 people for 85 years, Harvard researchers found out that happiness, relationship satisfaction predicted happiness and health better than cholesterol and blood pressure levels. That means the deeper, more meaningful relationships you have is better than having, more you have is better than having high cholesterol, blood pressure. Watch this. Your brain responds differently to transformational relationships. Recent research shows that meaningful connections regulate stress and reduce inflammation throughout your body. When you lack deep connections, your nervous system stays in low level or flight mode. I've had that personal experience with a friend. Man, when they freak out, they don't have a lot of deep relationships, they're running for the hills. So this explains why strong relationships, you're not going to believe this. I think I made this article up. Strong relationships reduce premature death by 50%. The effect matches the cessation of smoking and exceeds exercise benefits. So if you don't have time to exercise or build relationships, this says you're better off building relationships. Is that crazy? So how do you do it? 3 core elements. We hit on the first one: authentic vulnerability, consistent emotional investment, and getting honest observation and feedback from these people that you're letting into your little space. So how do you implement it? Start with one relationship where you trust somebody deeply. And once you demonstrate that you are reliable and mutual respect, then you can go after a second person. Don't be afraid to share. You think I make this up, I swear. Don't be afraid to share a current challenge you're working through, what we just did, and ask for people's help. This models the depth you want to create. Follow up within 48 hours with specific actions. Transformational relationships create expanding circles of influence. People notice when you invest deeply. I've seen that in my life. Guys, I was the last person you ever thought to build a big, huge community like Network in Action. I was, when in my 40s, I was such a me monster. I was so selfish and could have cared less about any of you. The fact that we're doing this today cracks me up. But if you actually become transformational, not only will you have more relationships, they'll be deeper and people will seek you out. It's weird how that happens. Last thing, the Harvard researchers found that relationship quality impacts every area of your life, from career satisfaction, physical health, creative output. All happens when you have deeper emotional security. And most people optimize for quantity in relationships when the research shows that you should optimize for transformational quality relationships. Less of them, deeper, better. How about that? I didn't know how I was going to close this day exactly, but I went over and took the article. So I've copied it over on the right-hand side. I hope that you found this helpful. I hope that you'll dig in. Sometimes it's uncomfortable when you're not good at it. Find one person that you trust. See if you can't go a little deeper with them and see if it doesn't improve every part of your life. And put Pressmaster AI to work when you have time. Y'all have a great week. Thank you for joining us. We will see. Oh, one last announcement. Oh, I mentioned that already. $10,000 if you have a referral that leads to closed business. If you have any friends that are extroverts and are looking for some side money, please let us know. Thank you all very much for everything. Thank you for your membership and your time today. Have a great month.
Hey, Scott.